Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the S&P 500 for Tuesday, June 7th, 2022. Looks like we finally got some answers to what the intent for the S&P and the markets are. I had been continue to count the current rally phase as counter trend and as a minor wave two. Within that minor wave two, it now again appears that we did complete wave A at 4202, and that high was from the 31st. So 31st of May. And then we did an ABC. That B wave today would have found support at 4074, came in with a low of 4076, close enough for government work, as they say. And the market launched off of that level in a clean move up, was showing some pretty good strength, finishing up the day at 4150, up 30. So it was a nice move after being down and then just zipping and closing with strength. So it puts a lot of structure around the balance of what we can expect likely into next week, I would think. So we got the balance of this week and into, next week. Now, that's not to say that we might get some tosses and turns. We can maybe finish this up before Friday of this week, because a lot's going to really be weighing down on what that CPI figure is going to say. I'm not seriously expecting anything to say that inflation is suddenly under control. In fact, I would think that it might continue to show us that inflation is not under control and continues to grow. Now, I can add to that we did hear that a Target came out and did a little revision on the second quarter and full year earnings, basically by saying that they have way too much inventory, way too much stock, and product that is not getting sold. And that is also as a result of inflation. So again, it continues to show how retail is now working through this repricing business, and whether they have got to now price in and take a look at inflation and how that's affecting their own sales and their own earnings capabilities, or not capabilities, but earnings reports. So interesting that we've got Amazon, we had Microsoft, now we have Target, and let's see other retail firms and just other firms that deal on a retail level that need to start talking about what's coming up and how they stand and what the possibilities are moving forward, to give a little bit of guidance to this whole thing, so that maybe we don't get these shell shocks coming up on the next earnings cycle. Now, back to the S&P. I am now expecting, and I'll drop this down to the hourly chart so we can get a little bit of an idea. Now, this morning, to be interesting enough, we dropped down, we broke that 50, we broke the 200, and you can basically see that once they did, and it happened overnight in Globex, it did accelerate. And then by the time we got around to opening, it did drop. We had that initial follow through, and a lot of that was based on Target. Everybody coming in, Target's earnings, now they revise all the price points, or what they're expecting, where the stock price could go to. Those are now being lowered, price targets, those can be lowered. And we initially started by just selling off a little bit, found that point very close to that support level, and boy, they did not waste any time. They turned, they started to buy, and they basically didn't stop. At least for the first 2 hours, we put in a very solid rally, got ourselves all the way back from 40.76 all the way up to 41.38. So that was a very strong rally for the S&P. And then again, saw a little bit of a sell-off, but another strong rally right into the close. So we ended up at a high today at 41.64, looking for a break above 41.68. So it got up to that level, which was yesterday's early high, 41.68. I definitely am looking for that to be broken. And for the market to eventually get up to 41.89, I'm looking for that to be broken. And then, of course, 42.02. So I'm looking for that level to be broken. Back out to that daily chart just briefly so that I can show you we still have the 50 moving average, the daily 50 moving average at 41.77. That has been presenting a little bit of a problem, but I do not suspect that we may find a little bouncing around right there. It should still be resistance, but I think that the fact that we're in that C wave up, the buyers would have enough fuel, enough fortitude or whatever to push up through that level and then begin to head towards 42.02, 41.89, excuse me, and then 42.02, and eventually get itself above 42.20. That's a kind of a line in the sand that it needs to kind of get above to give some more strength that we're going to find enough power from the buyers to eventually push the market up to 43.16, which is an upside target for this particular move. Now, let me add one more level of Fibonacci that's going to hone in on all the levels in between. Let me get that right. Come on, get it right. Come on, let's do it. All right. No, come on. 75, 75. That is close enough. Okay. So look at what we get. We get our first overlaps right in this great zone. So we definitely should, we get a little bit here, a little bit of crossover right at 42.20 to 42.25. So that's one zone. Then we have 42.73. Then we have the next cluster. And that cluster goes from 43.18, 43.55 to 43.88. And that's all right in there. If this C wave is going to be equal to wave A, that's going to be at 44.70. I'm actually not expecting that high because I actually am going to put my zone right down in here. Now, yes, the zone does overlap, and we've got the overlap all the way up to 43.86, but we have the 200, the daily 200 at 43.42. So where I'm going to put this zone, I'm going to put it right from 42.73 up to 43.42. That's the zone to complete. And again, what will be most important is the actual structure for wave C. It has to be 5 waves. That's the rule. 5 waves, C waves are always 5-wave affairs. So we're looking like we're almost done with that first wave up. Then we get a little bit of a pullback. Then we get wave 3. Then we get another little pullback, and then wave 5. So that all actually, folks, could unfold between now and Friday. So we'll see, which still leaves open next week. But again, we've got a lot of stuff that could happen in between then. But right now, we do look like we are going to push higher in the S&P and also in the NASDAQ, and then, of course, the Russell and the Dow as well. So that's what I'm looking for right now. Tomorrow, continued upside. If the market reverses from here and starts to drop, the first level, 41.22, it's got to smash it, get it out of the way like it doesn't exist. Then the low at 40.76, got to smash it as if it just did not even occur, and then start heading below 4,000, and then fall pretty quickly. So in other words, we don't have a lot of, we have got some price support, but I can't imagine it being super strong. I would imagine if the sellers are going to start pushing, we're going to get down to 4,000, which just because of the number is where we might find some support and a break there. We start going to the round numbers, 39.50, 39.25, 3,900, etc. But eventually, if it's going to be a minor third wave, and I got to back this all up, and this minor wave 2 still completed at 42.02, then we're looking for this a very quick and swift drop with a break at 38.07. Now, that's the downside scenario. So if it's going to start to break down, I believe it will be news driven. I believe on that news, there will be no mention of whatever. It's just going to go down based on whatever drives it, the news. So that's where I'm going to leave all of this. but I'm still looking for these upside scenarios to come through. The buyers showed up today. They were strong. That's what we were looking for. That's what we needed to give us some confirmation and support that indeed we're going to go up and finish this minor wave 2 correction. That still seems to be the ticket and the one that's in place. I'm going to leave it right there. Continue to follow your moving averages. They guide. We continue to sit between. We regained the 20 today, so it remains that bottom side level. And here in the S&P, we have that daily 50 to the top side that still could present us with a little bit of a problem. So I'm going to leave it there, and our next update will be on Wednesday, June the 8th.